Novex Dance presents
the deepest affect or meaning that I want to get across about interdisciplinary work is delighting in difference, that you're entering into that kind of work with a real curiosity about how other people see the world, how the world comes into focus for us. And in that way, I mean, I say this often also, but in that way, I think interdisciplinary work is intercultural work. So that might help people think about it in terms of kinds of difference. The way that we're trained has a huge impact on how we make meaning in our lives, right? So when I'm sitting in a room with a computer scientist and a designer, and I'm, you know, a dancer who makes noise with tech, you know, and there's students from all those fields, the main presence that I am trying to bring to that group is curiosity about what they bring, how they see the world. So when I say the word spiral, that means something very specific to me as a dancer, as someone trained in dance, right? You might even already be picturing it in 3D. Right. If you're a dancer, you're kind of like spiraling to the floor. It's not inherently in 3D, right? So my friends in computer science are immediately going to be trying to translate that into, well, how would you code that? What are the exact parameters of spiralness? Yeah. And how fun is that then to go deeply into a conversation about the nature of spiraling? And then if you've got someone from ecology in there, they might be bringing up fractals and how small changes make huge results, right? So it just is this kind of exuberant exchange of ideas and a really deep curiosity about that.
Do you find that working in the interdisciplinary space, that collaboration is just inherent in interdisciplinary art making?
No, that's a really smart question. It probably comes from experience. Collaboration is not like something you're just birthed with, born with into the world. It's a skill. And I think, honestly, if I could be a little contrary, a lot of people call things collaboration that aren't collaborative. Like when I
we were just talking about this earlier.
I want to learn from you too, but I'll say one of my pet peeves is, you know, when I contribute to an anthology about something, and I'm the one who wrote an essay by myself and it goes in a book with a bunch of other people, often that's called collaboration. That's not, to me, that's not collaboration. It's nice collegial exchange, nothing wrong with that, but it's not collaborative, I guess, in terms of its most transformative potential, right? And that is what Matt and I quote you brought out. So there is something in collaboration and in interdisciplinarity that's a little bit about getting out of your safety space, like out of your own skin. Yes, you're bringing your disciplinary excellence. We all have things we know better than other things. Yeah. Matt, in that article, Matt Lewis is a programmer and computer scientist, and he knows the world really differently. But then I'm not afraid to ask algorithmic questions. I'm not afraid to think algorithmically. He's not afraid to be an engineer who has a body, right? He's not afraid to ask choreographic questions. So we're asking questions together and we're iterating answers. We can talk more about that if you want. And in that iteration, that collaborative iteration, is where where it really starts to happen. Well, now I'm probably getting a little controversial, but let me be clear that I don't think everything has to be collaborative either. Like, I think there's this 21st century learning skill called collaboration that we all know folks need to live in this world. And sometimes it gets applied to everything. So sometimes it's not collaborative, and that's okay. For example, in dance, when we make our pieces for the stage, we're all, okay, maybe I want to bring in the word multidisciplinary. We're all often working in what's more multidisciplinary space, right? Where I made a piece and I have this awesome lighting designer who makes the lights, and I have this great composer who made the music, and maybe there's like deep exchange along the way. Maybe there's not. Maybe we all come in our nice disciplinary jackets and we make the thing, right? Let me fix my mic. There you go. So that doesn't involve a lot of like deep discussion around how you're going to create together. which is the heart of collaboration for me, how you're going to make discoveries that you could not make by yourself, which also I think you see in that article that I wrote with Matt Lewis, but is certainly important to Synchronous Objects and the work that we made with William Forsythe. Bill Forsythe and Maria Palazzi and I are the creative directors of that project, right? So there's a certain kind of hierarchy in that, and that we have, you know, we were responsible for the work. We were asking the questions together that then our team of more than 30 contributors over 5 years were responding to. But as the creative directors, we were sustaining the container of the work, deciding what kind of had, what stayed in and what went out. So it's like it's a project management role, it's a producing role, it's a creative decision-making role. That said, beyond that, we didn't operate with a lot of hierarchy. We chose a pretty flat context. So we're working, for example, I don't know, a lot of people have seen Synchronous Objects, but not everybody listening will have seen it. So just as an example, you know, what the project did is start with a dance by William Forsythe called One Flat Thing Reproduced, which is this wonderful, complex cacophony of difference, right? I just talked about that at the beginning. It's an interdisciplinary phenomenon in itself. And then we asked, and this was Bill Forsythe's question from the beginning, what else might this dance look like? What else besides the body can physical thinking create? What does it look like, act like, sound like, move like? Yeah. And in asking that question, we assembled different teams over these 5 years of people to make responses. Yeah. And those are called iterations for us. And that's a very common design methodology. I think we use it in dance also. We don't always call it iterative, but you make something, you look at it, you see how it helps you understand what you want, and then you make the next thing.
Thanks for taking your time to tune into Dance Behind the Screen, a bi-monthly interview series where we go behind the screen to question process, product, and social media. Be sure to follow us on social media at KNOW Box Dance. See you next time, and don't forget to say no to the box.